Well, Chance, old buddy, I'm still around. All is well. Doing really good. Operation was total success. Only took an hour, maybe a tiny bit longer, but it was just fine. We'll see you in just a few days. Hey, that's a trip I don't ever want to make again. That got really bad. Good morning, world. This is Brad Buckner, sharpensbest.com, coming to you live from Yuma, Arizona on 95, headed north into Las Vegas. This is Brad, sharpensbest.com. You take care and have a good day. This is just 36 hours after my emergency removal. Take care. Well, what did you think? Where are we going? This is Brad. Take care. Have a good day.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There he is. The infamous Brad Buckner.
He lives. He'll live on to sharpen another day. Okay, guys, something has happened. Something has happened in my life. We're going to tell you the story. I'm headed home right now from the second trip into the hospital. Headed back to Cheyenne. Doing pretty good right now, but there is a story to come. The story you're about to see and hear is based on a true story. This is Brad, sharpensbest.com. Take care. Have a good day.
Give me an audio check real quick.
Okay, I guess it's turned on. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check, 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 check.
Who's the best company in the world, knife sharpener?
Well, that would happen to be Sharpen's Best, sharpensbest.com.
All right, and take 1. All right, Brad, here's the big interview. We are in Wyoming. You are still alive. We're ready when you're ready.
Yeah, I am still alive. You know, I'm laughing today and I'm happy to be here. And I'm feeling pretty good right now. It wasn't always that way. Hi, this is Brad. I'm back in the hospital again.
I want you to tell me the story this way. You started from the day. Tell me what you were doing the day that you first noticed, and I think you're out on the water with one of your family members.
I was.
And more. Ah, Grandpa Buckner.
That's right, sharpensbest.com. This is Brad Buckner, sharpensbest.com, out here using my grandson for gator bait. I'm trolling for gators. Okay, my plan was to take my grandson out on my little pontoon boat, and I did. And about 25 miles, went out into the Vidavoo area, and there's a lake out there called Crystal Lake, and so we put the little boat in. That was good. Took my grandson out, let him run the boat and everything. Aren't you going just a little bit the wrong way?
Yes, I'm getting it around.
We're supposed to be going that way.
I'm going the wrong way. Hey, Grandpa Buckner. But yeah, the cameraman is Grandpa Buckner. Usually, well, Brad Buckner, as you know him. By the way, don't forget, go to sharpensbest.com. Get yourself a sharpener for your knife.
We just had a lot of fun. He went swimming, and it was just a really good day. It was sunny. It was a beautiful day. I've taken you to Crystal Lake before, Crystal Lake Reservoir. You know, we put the life jacket on him, and he wanted to be towed behind the boat, so you know, I let him hang on to the rope, and I was pulling him behind the boat, and he was having a lot of fun. And the boat only runs about 8 miles an hour anyway. It's just a little pontoon boat with a 50-pound thrust motor on it. Yeah, you can get your face on, but I said, you know, if water comes up on your face, just let loose, you know, immediately. And he's good in the water anyway. He's 11 years old, so.
By the way, don't make his sharpeners work. Let them work. They always work, as long as you use them right. Trust me, they're the best sharpeners you can get.
So we were having a lot of fun, and we boated around, and you know, did a little bit of videoing of him. And that's how the day started, and that was on the 1st of August. I came down with an appendicitis attack, and it was really bad, and it just, you know, it takes over your whole abdominal area. Keeps creeping up. Creep up and up and up, you know. And then, I don't know, it was later that day, early next morning, the horrible pain in the appendix itself started. And you're kind of like, what's wrong with me, you know? So that night was actually pretty tough. It kind of hit. When it hit hard and it hit fast. And at first I just thought I had gas, you know, like, oh my God, I just need to fart. But it like it was gas, and it was gas real bad. It hurt so bad. And so that night was just, you know, it just got worse and worse and worse, and I was awake all night and no way you could sleep. I'll tell you what, it got so bad I went and unlocked my front door, put my pants on, laid back down on the bed, and I thought, if I need to call 911, at least they can get in, and I got some clothes on. So I made it through that night. And the next day I did something, I'm kind of like, let's fix me myself when you got a problem. I did something that they claim is something that you should never do. I'm not an advocate for this, but I did stave off a full-blown appendicitis attack for 7 days. All right, that's pretty much unheard of. When the appendicitis, when it happened, my stomach started getting really tight. My abdominal area, it was clear up in here. It started from down here. I got kind of extended here, and it just hurt. It hurt so bad. And then later, the appendix itself area hurt awful bad. So the next day, I started taking amoxicillin. I actually took 2,500 milligrams, the first oral, you know, dose. And 8 hours later, I took 2,000 milligrams. 6 hours later, I took 1,500 milligrams. 6 hours later, I took 1,000 milligrams. 6 hours later, I took 500 milligrams. Then the next day, I started out with 1,000 milligrams and then went back to 500 milligrams. And I was taking ibuprofen, 800 milligram ibuprofen that I get from Mexico, same place I get my amoxicillin, which people say is crazy. But I staved off an appendicitis, a ruptured appendix, and a full-blown, you know, you can't move, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything for 7 days. I had a show planned, and that was the Wyoming State Fair, and I was going to do that Wyoming State Fair. But as it turned out, see, that started on the 12th, and I thought, okay, I can get to Mexico, I'll make this. First thing, you know, I believe in God, everybody knows that. I just asked for help. I just said, I need help. This is something I can't really do. You can believe or not, I don't care. You stave off an appendix rupture for 7 days when you go through what I went through. So anyway, I went out to my cousin's house the following day, and I said, hey, we can play cards, because I felt pretty good. During that day, it came back, and it came back with a vengeance. And so I'm sitting there playing cards. My face is changing. I'm starting to sweat. Water's dripping off of my hair. My cousin and his wife were kind of looking at me, you know, and I said, I think I have an appendicitis problem. And they're like, well, why don't you go get something done about it? You know, instead of sitting here at our house playing cards. So the water just running off of me, you know, and I was hot. Within 15 minutes, I actually had the chills so bad I was sitting there shivering so hard that I couldn't control it. My cousin says, hey, you need to go stand in a warm shower. You're literally freezing to death. So went in, stood in the hot shower, and it made things better. So we played cards. I stayed there that night. They said, you're not going home. You really actually need to go to a hospital. They Googled it. We read all the symptoms. Real hard back pain, lower back hurt real bad. Awful pain in my abdominal area. You couldn't, honest to God, that was painful. You could not do that to my appendix area. And just in case you wonder if there's any trauma to me, zoom in there. Okay, this is the 7th. This is 12 days later. Okay, that's still black and blue. And there's another place that's more black and blue. The doctors asked me at the hospital, does it hurt to pee? And it's like, yeah, but not too bad. The doctor says, well, it ought to hurt pretty bad. Still in Cheyenne, it's hurting. I'm at my cousin's house. I lay there on their couch for, let's see, I guess it was just 1 day. Then I went back home, and it was like, okay, I feel pretty good now. I think this is going to turn out okay. And I'm a little on the stubborn side. So I called Chance, my videographer, my camera guy down in Denver, and I said, I need to go to Las Vegas to see a friend of mine who sells mangosteen juice. It's called Zango, and it's the only fruit on earth that has 74 of the 200 known xanthones on earth. Look up xanthone, X-A-N-T-H-O-N-E, I think. They're all the little fixtures in the foods. That's, you know, stuff that's in the food. If you have one fruit that has 74 of the 200 known xanthones, that's something that you need inside you when you have medical problems inside you. I decided I needed to go to Las Vegas. I needed to fly to Las Vegas and see this gal and get some mangosteen juice, start drinking it, because that would help me stave off the ultimate, which is going to be the burst appendix. And so I called my dentist in Mexico, in Algodones, down by Yuma, and I told him what was going on, what was wrong, and that I needed help, and could they find a surgeon in Mexico so they could do the surgery. We had the plane, you know, the car, the hotel, we had everything ready. We were going to do some video work and everything, and it just got so bad I couldn't do it. I just couldn't stay standing up. It hurt so bad. Couldn't talk right, couldn't think. It was getting real bad. So I told Chance, I said, you know what, we just need to scrap. Just throw away Vegas. I need to get to Mexico. I've got to get this surgery now, which was 14 days ago. And so we just scrapped all those plans and started making plans to fly to Phoenix, okay, and then from Phoenix to Yuma, all right, and then I would get together with the people. I would rent a car in Yuma, and then I would go into Algodones, Mexico, meet up with my two dentists, and then we would go for an examination. God works in mysterious ways. Things happened to me during this time that helped me tremendously. So the next, let's see, it was that night on the 6th, I believe, that we made arrangements at 8:30 for me to leave Denver and fly to Phoenix. And I went out to the airport and I flew to Phoenix, and then I waited 2.5 hours and flew to Yuma. Well, I got in at midnight, and so I had to stay the night in the hotel there. And I can't go do anything, you know, productive at midnight. And so anyway, I thought, I'm just going to bunk on one of the chairs here in the airport. And then I thought, that's probably not going to happen. So a guy was headed for Holiday Inn Express, 109 bucks for 7 hours. So I went there, and then the next day went to pick up my rental car. It wasn't ready, and so then it wasn't ready. So they gave me a Nissan Frontier, which was a really nice little pickup. We finally have a car. We drive over to Algodones on the border, Mexico and U.S. and it's actually in California, and then you cross over into Mexico. And so anyway, I parked my car, and now in the middle of all this, I remember that my passport has expired, so I can't use my passport. And they'll, you know, because obviously you know for a while, and I just forgot it and didn't do it. So I opted to just go ahead and cross the border into Mexico without a passport, and went down to see my dentist. They hauled me down 42 miles south into Mexico to get my examination. And the whole time, and I told them the story about how many days it's been, how long it's been, how bad the first attack was. Well, this is Brad Buckner, sharpensbest.com, the goofy things that I don't show you. And what I might show you during this video is how you get an appendix taken care of. Well, my day's been a little bit boring, just kind of sitting around, you know. Yeah, right. Came down to Algodones, met up with my two good friends, my dentists. And that's Paula. That's Paris. He's the one driving. He's the good-looking one. Came down to San Luis, south of Algodones, and met with the doctor, had an examination. He said, yep, it's appendix. Doesn't quite understand probably how it's lasted so long after I had the major attack, August 1st. Anyway, we came back to Algodones, went across the border, went into Yuma, got some money for the surgery, and now we're headed back to San Luis. And then I guess I'm going right straight into the hospital and have my appendix removed. And so anyways, that's just a little update on what's going on with me, and another chapter in the saga of where is Brad and what's Brad up to. It's never been like this before, thank God. So anyways, I just thought I'd give you a little update on what's going on. Paula and Paris, my dentist, and her husband, he's an implant specialist and she's a general dental practitioner. And they're talking in Spanish, and I could hear in her voice that something was wrong. So I just said, "What's wrong?" You know, we're in the car, and Paris says, "Paula's very, very scared right now. She's worried." And I said, "What's wrong now?" And she said, "It's been too many days. Your appendix is going to rupture." And I said, "Well, I feel pretty good right now. We're going to make it." So we got down to the doctor, took an x-ray, did an exam, asked me a bunch of questions, shook his head, "Yeah, it's appendix." Well, about that time it dawned, and he wanted to do the operation like literally in an hour. He said, "It's just, you have to get this done fast." And that was fine with me. But then it dawned on me, my Nissan pickup was sitting in the parking lot where it couldn't be overnight, and they'll tow it. And I only had it rented for one day, and then they tow it, and it's like, oh my God, this is just going to get worse and a bigger mess. So I told my dentist, I said, "You know what, there's a problem here." "Oh, what is it?" So I told him about the pickup. And the surgeon, he says, "That'll give me a little time to get my team together. You guys go back, take the car back into Yuma, which is 55 miles from the surgeon's office." It was 106 that day, and I knew I was going to have the surgery, so I stopped eating and stopped drinking water. It's 106. We're walking as quick as we can everywhere we go. Every now and then Paula would look right in, stop me, and look at my eyes, look at my face, and she'd say, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm fine. Let's just go." Well, here we are in the town of San Luis, isn't it? San Luis? San Luis. Yeah. In San Luis, headed back to the doctor. It's time for me to go back and have my operation. We went back to Algodones, crossed the border, went to Yuma, got some money, and here's how nice the Enterprise rental car people were. They knew I was in a hurry to get back here, so instead of a taxi, the guy actually brought us back to Algodones, to the border crossing, and bid us a goodbye and wished us good luck. My little guardian angels are everywhere. Take care. Next stop, doctor's office. So he drove us down there, and we got out and walked across, got in the car, drove down to San Luis, another 42 miles. It's hot, air conditioning in their car wasn't working too good. So anyway, we got there, the doctor had his team ready, they took me right in, prepped me, give me a good cocktail, and I thought I was going to get a margarita, but it turned out, no, I wanted a, I think I wanted a vodka and orange juice, but I think they gave me a margarita instead. What are you putting in my arm?
A pina colada.
A pina colada?
Yeah, a pina colada.
Well, I asked for vodka and orange juice. But I get a pina colada, that's okay. There's Paris, that's my dentist, one of them. It was top notch, it was first class. Very clean, I mean really clean. And I'm going to give you, I don't want you to think that I'm not, you know, not grateful for what happened to me in Denver. I ended up with some internal bleeding, had to go back to the hospital. But when I got to Mexico, I mean, they were just right there, right there, right there. The nurses were right there, the doctor was right there, the anesthesiologist was right there. They're talking to me, they're explaining things. You know, the nurse is getting me ready for my IV to start mellowing me out, you know, and everything. It was all tile. It's all clean, air conditioned.
Well, hi, this is Brad Buckner, Sharpensbest.com. How many of you ever laid in a bed looking at a wall that has one of those on it up high and one of those right beside it, and sinks and stuff? There's my feet, a bed, and then there's Paris over there. He's working hard. That's my guardian. That's my babysitter for the night.
Let me tell you this. This is what the surgeon, okay, this is absolute truth. When my dentist called the surgeon, because that surgeon had actually just done an operation late last year on my dentist's husband's brother. And so that's how they knew. It's like, oh, we know where to go. Very nice people. So anyway, the cocktail the gal gave me was starting to work. They wheeled me into the operating room, shaved my belly hair, started prepping me. They gave me a spinal block, and so I'm laying on the table, and the guy he's kind of gathering up my feet, and he's got his belly kind of you know, on me, and then he's just kind of gathering me up, and he's pulling my legs up, and he's pulling my head around, and he's pulling my arms in and pulling my legs up. And what he was doing is waiting for the doctor that did the spinal block to say, you know, okay. And I didn't actually feel anything. I don't even know that they did it. All of a sudden, I'm kind of awake on the table. I can see him. I can hear a little bit. I see what's going on. I feel nothing. I can move my hands. I can move my arms, my head. My upper torso was mobile, but they, you know, said, don't be moving around, you know. And I felt them scrub me up, you know, and stuff. I didn't feel anything, you know, the cutting, none of that. And the only reason I felt the scrubbing because they scrubbed way around, you know. And I'll tell you, they scrubbed. So anyway, they took out my appendix and took me to the recovery room, and I'm thinking probably 2 hours in the recovery room, about an hour and 10 minutes for the surgery.
Well, a little something got the best of me for a while. I had appendicitis attack. I fought it off. I won. Still had to have the appendix out, but that was 6 days after it happened. A lot of people say it doesn't work that way, but I'll give you an interview, talk to you later about it. But anyway, down here in San Luis, Mexico, to the south and east of Algodones, Mexico, which is east and a tiny bit south of Algodones, Mexico. Yuma, and then Algodones, and then down to San Luis. So anyway, the operation was a total success. Took about an hour. It's 11:30 at night here. I believe it's the 7th or 8th of August. Just piecing together a little bit of a video here, put it on my YouTube. Travels of Old Buck, you know, take you with me where I go. I should have done a little more video clips here and there along the way. But anyway, I'm still going to be around, do some sharpening. It's great. Operation was great. Nice people, kind people. Everything is fine. So we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night. This is Brad, Sharpensbest.com. You take care. I am.
Was it state-of-the-art, first-class, what you would get in the United States today with lasers and little tiny holes and reach in there and pull it out so that they're extremely non-invasive? No. It was an old-fashioned way. It's a cut about that long. I've got it with me today, so I'll show you. You know, that's where they took my appendix out. And anybody that's in the medical field is going to go, oh my God, that's not where you take out an appendix today. But you know what? If it all works out good, and you save $35,000, and it all comes out good, I don't care if there's 3 little holes or a 2-inch cut. That's no big deal to me at all.
Well, it sure looks like I'm gonna live. This is not a bad deal. Oops, if I don't drop the camera. I'm gonna be fine. Take care. Another little adventure. Everything's going pretty good. Just had my appendix out yesterday at 8 o'clock last night, and it is 10:32 this morning, next day. And I'm out of here, and I'm off to go have some fun, go to Las Vegas, meet with a friend over there, get some mangosteen juice, and then back to Denver and back to work. Talk to you later. Empty. Ha ha ha. You're all right. Didn't even scare me. But we better open the door.
So
now they say, Brad, it's successful. We need you to rest yourself and everything's going to be okay.
and that's where I took over and
all right, so tell us your version.
well, my version wasn't quite that way. Okay, you got a lot of pain meds in you. The surgery is brand new, so it don't hurt. Your stomach muscles that have been cut all the way through. Okay, the band of muscles, you know, that's in your stomach, small, you know, 2-inch incision and everything. So when I wake up and they're talking to me and everything, and they ask me about pain, I say, oh, I have no pain at all. And feel like $1,000,000, you know. I feel none of this. I mean, I felt great, like I hadn't even had any surgery at all, you know. And they asked me some questions, you know, and the doctor and my dentist, you know, and you know, do you have any pain? It's like, no, I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any pain at all, you know. So that was, I don't know, 10:30 at night, something like that. And doctor, you know, the surgeon says, okay, well, you know, let's take him up to his room and get him in for the night. So that's what they did, and got me up there. And Paris, my dentist's husband, he sat with me, you know, through the night. And next morning at 8:30, 9 o'clock, something like that, surgeon comes back in, and he's talking to to Paris, my dentist's husband, and they're talking in Spanish, you know, and so what he was doing is getting a report that how I was through the night. You know, was there any complaints? Did I have any problems? Did I sleep? Was I awake? You know, how was I through the night? And I was really good through the night. And so anyway, the surgeon talked to me for a while, and they asked, you know, 2 or 3 times, do you have any pain? Do you have any problems? Do you have something that we should know about going on? And it's like, no, I feel fine, you know. And so the surgeon says, well, at about 2 o'clock today, I think we check you out and go home, but you need to go somewhere and recuperate. You need to go somewhere and lay down. You need to take care of yourself. So we left the hospital, drove up to Algodones, Mexico, had lunch. My dentist and her husband drove. They needed to go get some stuff done in Yuma anyway, go to the bank, go to Walmart, get some stuff done. So they took me over to a hotel, Motel 6 actually, and checked me in there, and I went in and, you know, and put on my swim trunks actually, and laid down on the bed and watched TV and drank some water and get up and go to the bathroom. And I noticed that every time I would get up to go to the bathroom, you know, your abdominal muscles, you got to tighten them, you got to get off the bed, you know, you got to stand up, and it hurt, you know. So anyway, I called Enterprise and said, hey, can you come pick me up, you know, like the neighborhood Enterprise system, they come pick you up at your location. And they said, oh, not from the airport, we don't leave the airport, you know. So I said, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll catch a cab. Went over to Enterprise at the airport, and I'm a little under the weather then, you know, and it's starting to sink in. The pain medication's wearing off. I hadn't taken the pain pills because I kind of wanted to see how it would get. That was a bit of a mistake. Don't let it get the best of you because it's hard to get control of. Anyway, I got over to the airport, to Enterprise, rent a car, and I went in there and I said, hey, I got a car, you know, I got a car reserved, I need to pick it up. And the guy says, well, you're too early. And here it is mountain time for me, and I think it's 9 o'clock. Well, for them it's 8 o'clock in Arizona. And I said, well, I kind of need to get this, I need to get this going. I'm driving to Las Vegas. It's 4.5 hours. And by then it was, it was 17 hours after my surgery. So really shouldn't have been doing that. But a little stubborn. I thought I could do this. So anyways, the guy finally says, you know what, we got a brand new Chevy Malibu. You know, Enterprise, really good deal. I'll tell you why I say they're a really good deal. They're very good. He says, we got a brand new Chevy Malibu, lot nicer car than what you rented. $7 a day, take it. It's here, go now. I was a little stubborn, and I kind of thought, okay, now here's the deal. When we book this car, and you pick it up in Yuma, Arizona, and you drive it to Las Vegas, and you leave it in Las Vegas and fly somewhere else, there's a drop-off charge. Okay, so for 1 day, no, 2 days, 2 days, okay, rental car and drop-off was $389. Okay, and that kind of put a burr under my saddle, but what do you do? So when the guy said, for an extra $7, I said, no, I'm already paying $389 for the car. I'm not going to pay an extra $7 a day. And Roy is his name, Spanish guy, speaks really good English. He looked at me and he goes, are you this guy? Are you that guy? And I said, what? And he picks up my business card. And I said, yeah, that's me. And he goes, oh, we've heard all about you. So I said, well, $389 is a lot of money. And he goes, just wait a minute, go sit down. And I said, well, I can't sit down. Not really easy. And he said, give me a few minutes. All right, 10 minutes went by. He said, come here. They gave me the Malibu, no extra charge, full coverage insurance, no extra charge. And when I get to Vegas, I just drop it off. And I don't even have to fill it up with gas if I pay them $20 in the beginning. Now it's going to be empty when I turn it back in. So it's going to take 15 gallons, all right, at $2.50 a gallon, more than $30. I paid $20. He got everything done, handed me the keys, said sign this. I went out and jumped in the car and off I went. Enterprise Rent-A-Car. They treated me good.
Well, good morning. This is Brad Buckner on my way to Las Vegas from Yuma, Arizona. Just got done with my appendix out. That would be 24 hours last night at 8:30. And now I'm going to drive back to Las Vegas, spend a couple days, have a meeting, and then fly to Denver on Friday. But, you know, this thing with my appendix, you know, that was quite a deal. And, you know, God was involved there a lot. Even this morning when I picked up my rental car, and that's going to be in our little mini documentary, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, I strongly suggest them. Good people, man, they help. They really help. So this just a little short video to kind of help remind me of this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, first customer, and how much they helped, and I'll tell you about it later. This is Brad. Take care. Have a good day.
So anyway, I drive 4.5 hours to Las Vegas, and I actually feel really good. Parker, Arizona. This is driving along the Colorado River headed north. I'm not too far from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Parker, Arizona is a fantastic place.
on the Colorado with really cool places along the river to live, actually. Well, this Brad, sharpensbest.com, sometimes you just got to stop and smell the roses. There's my rental car that I'm taking from Yuma up to Las Vegas for a couple of days. Chevy Malibu. Man, does it run slick. And fast. Yeah, I checked that out too. Well, let's go to Las Vegas. This is Brad, sharpensbest.com. How you doing today? Well, I'm doing pretty darn good for what I've been through in the last few days. I'm on my way home, going through Las Vegas. Had my appendix out, I don't know, 38 hours ago. And all is well. This is Brad. You take care. Let's go on down the road. The Adventures of Old Buck. You just never know what you're going to go on with me. But you know what? God's always with me, so far, turns out pretty good. Let's go. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm going to do what they say can't be done. Hi, this is Brad. Headed, I don't know, probably about 80 miles south of Las Vegas. Cruising along about 80. Beautiful day, sunny, good road, blue sky, white puffy clouds. You just gotta love it. This is Brad, The Adventures of Old Buck, sharpensbest.com. Gonna be a video coming out pretty soon about my last 9 days. You take care and have a good day. I'll see you up the road. Vegas!
By the time I got to Vegas, I was a little tired. Then you get into the traffic and everything. So then I went and checked into my hotel, and I went to this hotel specifically because it was supposed to have a fantastic swimming pool. Now, I hadn't thought this through very good. I couldn't even, okay, first of all, you can't get in the water. I wasn't thinking about that. Okay, they said no hot tubs. Well, that means swimming pools too, because you can't soak the affected area. All right, you can take a real quick shower, and I'll tell you how I took the showers here in a minute, because I was a little scared of how much water do I get on the stitches in the surgical area. So they gave me like a bus pass to go over to Mandalay Bay. At 9 o'clock in the morning, directly above my room was a jackhammer, and I mean it's pounding on their floor, my ceiling. That's like, okay, I can deal with this. So when you go in and take a shower, I took a washcloth, held it over my surgical area, scrubbed everything else, you know, got out. Went downstairs, got out of the room, couldn't really sleep anyway, walked around just a little bit, spent a couple hours out, had a bite to eat, had a milkshake. So anyway, got back up to my room. It's like, okay, I'm tired and I've been walking around and this is kind of bothering me, so I'll just stretch out on the bed again, you know. And I do manage to go to sleep, you know, for a while like that. But you know, it's just the little things that happen along the way. And then went and met up with a gal named Sandy Cohen. I went to Vegas originally to get my hands on some mangosteen juice. Mangosteen is a fruit, not to be confused with mangoes. And why mangosteen fruit? Well, I've known about the mangosteen fruit, and the Zango is the name of the juice. And Zija, Z-I-J-A, is the company that they merged with. There are 200 xanthones on Earth known in food. Look it up, X-A-N-T-H-O-N-E, xanthone, and study it. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of research papers dating back to 1620. And universities, doctors, hospitals, studies, chiropractors, naturopathic doctors. So I knew that with the problem I had with infection possibility and stuff like that, that everything I'd read on the mangosteen juice, that I needed some mangosteen juice. So I got a hold of Eileen Cohen, who is my actual sponsor, and because I signed up as a sponsor, and you'll hear more about that later. So Friday, I was to fly out at, I had to be at the airport about noon, fly out at 2 something, and I felt pretty good. So I drove the rental car back out, dropped it off at the return, caught the bus, went over to the airport, felt good. Got on the plane, felt good. This was Friday. I'm thinking I got back to Denver Friday 2:33. Well, no, probably 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I got together with Chance, and we talked a little bit. We're going to do some filming, and it's kind of like, I don't feel like it. I think I've had enough for the day. So went, got a room, slept, got up the next morning, got to Chance's house 11 o'clock, 11:20, something like that. We were going to do some filming, and Fresh, you know, he's back. And we're going to do some other videos, because I'm still trying to do videos, you know, of other things and knives and stuff. And we're trying to get everything set up. We're trying to get everything kind of moved around and everything. And it's just like, this hurts. I tried to sit down. I tried to stand up. The pain was getting worse. It was just getting awful. I'll tell you the truth. It was getting awful.
I know this isn't funny, but this is part of the story. Are you doing okay?
Actually, kind of not.
I know.
My surgery was actually just Monday night. Last night was 4 days. I think I've been up and down too much travel. When I was in Las Vegas, get up and go to the bathroom, I've just kind of figured out that you can't get off of bed without using your stomach muscles to get up, you know, or to lower yourself to the floor. And I think I've just aggravated my surgery and my stomach muscles a little too much.
All right. Well,
So,
we're going to have to talk about all this and all that and all this down the road. Brad,
yeah,
get some rest.
yeah, that's about what I'm going to have to do. So, no filming today to speak of.
And I finally said, I can't do this. I just can't. I can't do this. I've got to go home. I got to leave like right now. Drive an hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half, go home, and can't do this. So we quit, got in the car, took off for home, got
To North Denver.
Yeah, North Denver. And the pain was so bad that I had to pull off the road, get into a parking lot. I have a bed made in the back of my Town and Country, and because when I travel, I don't always have to stay in a motel, you know. And got back there. It was hell getting back there to lay down. I mean, absolute hell. Never had pain that bad. I went 3 days on a broken leg one day, stubborn, because I wasn't going to go to the doctor, and finally had to go to the doctor and have him set it. I've had broken ribs twice, broke my back twice, had my back fused, had my jaw broke, cut in two, put back in the socket, plated. I've had a lot of serious trauma, injury, and nothing compares to the pain I was having. So I finally got scared and said, okay, well, no, I didn't either. I called my cousin in Cheyenne, still stubborn, and can you come get me, take me to Cheyenne? Well, his wife has got some cataract and some problems with her eyes, and he says, you know, I don't know what to do with your car because Dot can't drive the car home. Okay. So he calls me back in about 10 minutes and he says, what if we put your car on my car hauler? Is there a way to tie it down, you know? And I said, well, I think there is. And he said, okay, well, let me get that arranged. I had called my daughter. She hadn't answered the phone yet, and I wasn't going to give up. You got to keep moving forwards. And so then the pain, it was so bad I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. Then I was starting to get scared. Finally, after all this, it's like, okay, Brad's getting scared here. So I called 911. What's your emergency? I said, hey, I had my appendix out a few days ago. I'm on my way home. I've been pretty rough on myself. I haven't really been taking care of myself. I don't know what the pain is, but it's beyond, you know, it's just unbelievable. Hi, this is Brad. I'm back in the hospital again. North of Denver, Thornton, Colorado. A little bit of hemorrhaging under the surgery. Too much activity too soon. Traumatized the muscular area where they cut it to get my appendix out. Just couldn't take it, had to go back in the hospital for a while. Probably get out tomorrow. No further surgery needed. Just really sore. And so they sent the ambulance. They came and got me and put me on the cart and put me in the ambulance. You know, started me on an IV and got to the hospital. And this is where part of where I got to chew them out a little bit. And it's like, well, I was treated better in Mexico than this. So they put me in the ER. You know, on the same, you know, they just set the gurney, whatever you want to call it, on a table, you know. And I was there for a while. And then they rolled me off of it and put me on the bed, you know. When this is kind of embarrassing, but well, 20 minutes after I got there, all of a sudden it's kind of like, I got to pee. My grandson was there. By then my daughter had actually showed up. She got the message, came down. And all of a sudden it's like, no, okay, you know, and you're kind of like, oh my God, hurry up with the bedpan. I gotta pee. My grandson's looking at me, he's 11, you know, and I'm like, and I'm doubled over, and it's like, I hate to say it, but I just went ahead and grabbed one of their little blankets, folded it up, and peed in the blanket. By the time the gal come in, it was 4.5 minutes later, come in with the bedpan. She's looking at me, I'm looking at her, and I said, it's too late, lady. She got mad. And she says, you peed the bed? And I said, only in this blanket, you know? And she just got mad, and she goes, what, you can't hold it? And I said, first of all, I'm really not in control of me right now. I'm kind of in a bad situation, okay? And so she gave me a little more crap. And so I just told her, I said, you know, effing. And I said, just leave me the F alone and get the F out of my room. And I said, and stop effing arguing with me. I said, you're not even a nice person at all. And my grandson actually kind of stood up and got right over in her face, you know. And I said, you know, hey, I'm sorry. This is how it is, you know. So then she said something that was real nice to me. Well, I suppose you need to clean up now. And I looked at her and I said, well, what do you think? So she said, I'll get you a towel. Said there's a shower around the room here, around the corner. So I waddle in there and, okay, there's a shower there. There's all kinds of hair on the sink. There's papers and stuff in the sink. There is no shower curtain on the shower. And I never did find any cold water position so that you could cool the hot shower. So I'm in there, no shower curtain, water all over the floor, okay, and I'm trying to duck in, get wet, lather up a little bit, duck in, it's hot, okay, duck in, turn my butt a little bit, get some water on me, and not fall down and stuff. I finally got out of there, got my towel, dried off, went back to my room. So this other gal comes in and, "Hi, how you doing today?" And I says, "No, I was doing pretty good until I got to your hospital." I said, "Other than the fact that I think I was going to die from the pain, you know." She says, "What's wrong?" And I told her about the room, the nurse, the bitching at me and all that stuff. And I said, "And you need to go right now and walk in that bathroom and look with your own two eyes so that you see I'm not lying to you." Because they're going to go, "Oh no, it was all clean and everything was cool, you know." So that was the only bad part of going to the hospital there. That was good. They treated me good after that, you know. Got me on some pain meds, did a CT scan. They come back and said that I had a ball of blood as big as a fist developed in here because my surgery leaked, went into a cavity in there. So anyway, there's a sealed cavity in there. I don't know. And so when you bleed, it went into that area. And because it's a sealed off area, it just builds up like a water balloon. Well, when it got full enough, the pain is what was causing such horrific, you know, the expansion of my lower abdominal area here, which is what was causing the horrible pain. And the ER doctor, when he came in, says, "Well, the good and the bad of this is, the bad is you're filling up with blood. That's not good. But the good thing is it has stopped because it's too full of blood. Your heart can't pump any more blood in there, so it just quit." So he says, "Now you're actually on the mend. We just got to deal with the pain." So they started me on an IV for pain, and you know, checked my vitals and everything, drew blood, get a red blood count, see how low it was, to see how much blood I'd lost and everything. You know, and then they have a reference point every 2 hours, 4 hours. They come back in, draw blood, and look at your red blood count and see if it's down. 13 is real good, and mine was down about 11.3, 11.4, which was a little bit alarming. So then in a couple hours they took another sample, did a lab on it, and it was up. It was almost 12. So they said, "Okay, the hole is quit oozing blood, and now your body's making blood and it's retaining it where it ought to be. Just tell me what's wrong with me and I'll go eat some food and fix it." And I will. Okay. But anyway, I got out of the hospital, just 24 hours in the hospital, and Chance and Amanda came, picked me up, and drove me up to Cheyenne, and took me out to my cousin's house, where this whole thing started. And I had already asked him, "Hey, can I come spend 2 or 3 days?" So now we kind of have a cycle. Okay, it started out at Crystal Lake on the 1st of August. And today's the 20th. I went home last night. I was at my cousin's like from the 14, 15, 16. I'm missing a day or something in there, but that's about how it went. I was actually having a hard time still getting up off of the couch. My abdominal muscles, the pain, the blood that was collected inside of me, and the trauma, and I showed you the black and blue. So that was still bad. I got home where I'd ordered a case of mangosteen juice to be delivered to my apartment. I drank about a half a bottle of juice that day, of the mangosteen juice, and took the herbal medicines. I got up the next morning, and I'm not kidding you a bit. When I rolled off of the bed, or rolled over, here, and when you're in bed, let's back up a little bit. Okay, let's back up a little bit more to the hospital and before the hospital. I did videos of myself on my cell phone from the time I was leaving Denver, going to Phoenix, going to Yuma, Arizona, going into Algodones, and I'm doing these videos and I'm telling people, "Hey, this is what's going on right now." And then in the car, headed down to San Luis, Mexico, in the doctor's office, and then in the hospital when they're doing the IV, when I'm getting drowsy, not in the operating room, but just as soon as I came out of the operating room, and I'm kind of like, "Oh, okay," you know. So it's like, "Hi, I'm Brad, sharpensbest.com," you know. Then when we got out of the hospital, and then on the way back up to Algodones, 42 miles, and then having lunch with my dentist, they were still very concerned because they did not want me traveling. It hadn't even been, at that time, it had only been 17, 18 hours. You know, and they were like, "No, don't do this," you know. And so then the videos in the car on the way up to Las Vegas, getting to Las Vegas, things like that. And it's like, if we're going to document this thing, we just well video it and really do it. So anyway, it kind of helps take your mind off what's going on. You're going to see some stuff coming. I'm going to change a lot of what I do. I'm going health-wise. I've known about mangosteen juice for 14 years, and I thought I was so healthy, and I don't really need it, and I eat the right foods and everything. I don't think my appendix problem was because I was eating the wrong foods. Here's a little FYI for appendix, okay? 12 and under is real heavy in appendicitis and burst appendix, children damn near dying. 65 and over is the other category. Between 12 and 65, you kind of have this free period, okay? It's kind of a free pass. And so you look all this stuff up, you talk to doctors, I talk to my family. I just talked to probably 6 people this morning. Half of those 6 people had their appendix burst before they were 12 years old. 2 of them was 9, 1 was 10 before 12 years old. Then I talked to some of the older people that were there, and by God, it was after 65 years old. The gal that sold me the mangosteen juice, okay, in Arizona, or no, in Las Vegas, her husband, 30 years as a pharmacist, he knows what appendix and appendicitis and all that stuff is all about. He tells his wife, okay, I'm having this trouble. We wait like 12 hours. It's really bad. Lower back is starting to hurt. Feels nauseous. Feels like diarrhea. Okay. He tells her there is no question. This is my appendix. I got to go to the hospital. So they treated that man, and that woman came in saying, it's his appendix. It's my appendix. We need to do something. They treated him for 9 hours for food poisoning. He's yelling, it's my appendix. They treated him for another 8 hours for gallbladder. He's yelling, it's my appendix. In that process, the appendix burst. It takes a little while to realize that the appendix burst. His appendix burst. Long story short, he was so screwed up, he was in recovery for a month. It was a month before he could actually walk from his bedroom to his kitchen. It was just last October. He's 72. And he was a cyclist, biking, all kinds of stuff, healthy guy. But yeah, that's the American doctors in Las Vegas treated him for 2 different things instead of just going in and doing the appendectomy. And this stuff happened. It damn near killed him. So, I went down to Mexico. I told them what was wrong with me. Then he asked me a million questions. Then he laid me on a table, and he's poking and prodding, and he reaches down underneath, and he kind of pulls into my back, and it was like, oh my God, that hurt, That's another symptom. And he says, vomiting, nauseous, how do you feel? And I said, well, I could probably vomit at about any time, but so far I haven't. And he said, is there a mucousy stuff in the stool, and you feel like you've got diarrhea, but don't really do anything? And I said, yeah, it's there. And he goes, well, there's no question you diagnosed your own problem perfectly. So be very careful. Coming from a guy who took 7 days to go get operated on, but be very careful about doctors and what they diagnose and how they treat you and how they work on you and stuff like that. One of my best friends actually had, he did have gallbladder problems, and they took out his appendix. And that's still in litigation or whatever. That's a mess.
But here you are feeling good, right? And all that's said and done. So what's your moral?
Well, the moral, God, I'm not going to tell you to do what I did to stave off an appendix, but I'm telling you, be in control of your own life. The doctor has nothing to do with running your medical life. Okay, you do. If you got a problem, read up on it, check into it, get things done quickly as you can. Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If you can eat food and not pharmaceutical, here's the moral of the story. Eat food. Eat the right food. Eat good food. Take care of yourself that way so you don't have to go through pharmaceuticals operations and things like that. So, but I am going to change we're going to change directions here a little bit with my life and get just a little bit more into good health, good things to eat, what causes problems. So many things you can fix just with the right food. by not eating something and eating the other thing, and then good exercise. My grandmother told me 45 years ago, she always called me Bratty Boy. She says, Bratty Boy, if you ever want to control your weight, stop eating with your fingers. Eat nothing that you can't eat with a fork. You'll just lose weight. It's natural. It's just common sense. Fast foods, convenience stores, hot dogs, rolls, potato chips, crappy burgers. You know what? I got off the normal burgers things for 20 days. I stopped in Wheatland the other day on my way up there to the mountains, and I ordered a burger, and I thought how good it would be. I didn't like it at all. I actually took all the bun off, which you're not supposed to eat. Most wheat today is all GMO, genetically modified organisms. Your body doesn't even know what it is. So we'll get into that more. You know, you can raise your own hogs at home for butcher, but if you feed them commercial, corn, barley, wheat, oats, full of pesticides, genetically modified. So now your fantastic pig that you raise yourself to butcher, you just as well went to the store and bought it. So, you know what? This is Brad. That's enough for now, and we got some other videos coming out that we're going to do, but I just kind of wanted to tell you what happened to me over the last 20 days, where I've been, and I've been a little quiet, you know, and haven't been putting out the videos. So, this is Brad Buckner, sharpensbest.com. I got some healing to do, but I'm back. You take care, and have a good day. Huh? Cheyenne, Wyoming. I'm back in Wyoming. That's cool. It's been a long trip home from Yuma, Arizona. We'll talk to you later.